Word, word. Mr. White, Terrence, what y'all think?
Uh,
Bruh.
I, um, my father wasn't really in my household. I mean, I'm a product of a single parent home or just a divorced family and everything. And I don't want to. I don't. I would like to say no. We're not lasting everything. Um, I'm not saying that I'm not saying we're last. I mean, yeah, we may be almost last or close to last in a lot of things, but I don't think I think that, all of us we are some rare exceptions because, most of us are educated, fathers, we're responsible. And I know, and, everybody's got a bad batch. And when it comes to black men, I think that, our bad batch is more publicized more than anything else. I mean, it's just like, we could sit here and kid about, Nick Cannon having, X amount of kids, but don't act like, like white men don't have, do the same thing. So, how can we, because it's easier for it to be publicized for Scottie Pippen to have X amount of kids or Nick Cannon or whatever, man, I mean, it's just that, white people may be able to actually, hide their shit far better than we can.
But one thing I noticed, you said we are exceptions.
We are. I mean, I'm just saying, like, all of us on here, we may be that, the opposite of, that bottom of the barrel. So, I
Well,
mean,
T, I just want to get clarification because hold on one second. Yo, shout out to the Do Better podcast. Remember the review that we had? He did it with the ladies and all that. Shout out to my brother. I appreciate you. Your stream this morning was dope as well. So you just showing love, man. You know what I mean?
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
All
like
right.
that. Shit like that.
So T, but if we're exceptions, then what is the majority? That's what I need an answer for. I ain't talking about niggas who did a great thing, who aren't unlike everybody else. I'm talking about the masses. So if we are exceptions by nature of that comment, what is everybody else?
like I said, I mean, like, I don't think that, like, the question was like, are we the bottom of the barrel? I don't think that we're the bottom of the barrel, on everything. I think that, like, who was it? I think it was Gunny that was talking about, all these statistics and everything. I mean, how are we, I don't think that we're the bottom of everything.
Well, brother, you agree with me because you're essentially saying the same thing. You're just saying the opposite. If we're the exception, then what's the majority? What's the majority? The majority is everybody else, and we're the exception. So that means you're agreeing with the point.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
God damn, that boy. Okay, he stumped.
Well,
Mr. White.
had,
Go ahead. T. Who's that?
no, he had a good. I mean, the points are valid all across the board, but statistically speaking, I think it's something around 70% of black fathers are active within the homes, which is higher than any other race. So that's a win for us right there. You know what I'm saying? So we can't be at the back. We can't be at the bottom of everything.
I will also push back on like some of the historical narratives that are missing from Gunny's understanding of why we're allegedly at the bottom. I don't think that's the case, but you got to consider what the hell was going on since the 60s and 70s, where black men were pushed out of the homes, incentivized by government money in order for women to have housing and all these other things, right? So there wasn't this mass exodus of black men from the home because we wanted to. Do you have a few drunk bastards out here, drug addicts, all of that? Yeah, very few, and they don't account for the whole. But what happened to the black community where black men were least and least in the home was the acceptance of a lot of black women into the programming, so much so that if you read the Moynihan report, it even shocked some of these people, white people that were doing it. It's like, damn, like, they outright decided to completely dismantle their homes, which largely suggests that a lot of those women wanted their freedom, and they got that in a sense, right? And we have what we have now, but it's not totally just men didn't want to be there. It's like, yo, like several things occurred historically for those statistics to be what they are. And I would also add that a lot of those statistics and studies are not produced by black people either. So there's already a bias in that as well.
So, brother, based on your point, if I could just ask you this question, were we forced out of the home or were we fooled out of the home?
Well, we're forced or fooled. It doesn't matter largely because you got to consider, to your point as well, if that's the case and we're not consistently around in that way, according to what you're saying, we're just not there. However, if we're talking large scale statistics where there isn't any bias in it, we're the most active fathers out here. So there's a
I
combination
think that
of
the question does matter because, whether we were forced or we were fooled, there's a huge difference. Because if we were fooled, then the onus is based on us as black men. If we were forced, that's a totally different story. When we're forced to do something, that's physically and mentally out of our control. Like we lack the ability to control being forced to do something. If we're fooled out of something, that means that mentally we're tricked into an idea that doesn't benefit our community. I lent to the notion that we were fooled out of the home in the same way that our black women were fooled into following feminism, which ultimately led to the mess that we're in right now. So that's my counter argument to that.
Let me get Mr. White in if I can. Let me just hit this super chat real quick. Shout out to all black men need therapy. To the panel, just showing love. We appreciate it.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Hey,
shit
definitely
like that,
drop
shit
the
like
link
that.
to the YouTube for all black men need therapy. Gunny, make sure you drop yours in the chat. Damn, what the fuck, man, my man Coop. Hold on, I gotta get his real quick. The Do Better podcast. Hey, Stacks, do me a favor. Can you drop them links if you get a chance? If you know where they are, appreciate you. All right, so the chat going crazy a little bit. Y'all don't look at